Okay, here we are, day 3, and a man that's coming to the stage right now all the way from New York. As you can see on his PowerPoint, he is from datehottergirls.com and also contributes to TSB Magazine. Really fun guy. Took the trip all the way down here to Orlando to speak at the 21 convention for the first time. He's got 45 minutes to better game, but he's going to be up here for 60, so make sure you take advantage of every second. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Rob Judge.
Thanks, Peter. All right, awesome, guys. Thank you for coming out. A lot of you probably have no idea who I am, so I don't want to spend a lot of time up here introducing myself. All you really need to know about me is, like Peter said, my name's Rob from New York City. My favorite color is green. I like coffee, love women, and I was probably in a worse place than any of you sitting here when I started out. So that's pretty much the bare bone facts you need to know. And I just want to get right into the speech because I don't have a lot of time, but I want this to be a speech that impacts all of you. That you can listen to what I have to say right now and take this out tonight and translate that into better game. So when I was kind of preparing this speech, I was thinking about it, like what would be the best things? What would be the best things to talk about? And it's always tempting to go over like the amazing things to say, or like the smooth strategies, or the under the radar attraction techniques, you know, the classical what you call game. And it's so tempting to talk about that because, you know what, everyone rags on that stuff, but secretly that's what we all want, right? It's so easy, it's so simple, just to learn some turnkey tactics, go out to the bar and use them. But I'm not going to do it because it won't help in the long run. And this is what my speech is going to focus on. It's going to focus on two things: effectively communicating with yourself and effectively communicating with women. Because if any of you know Zack and myself, if you've read any of my articles, if you're familiar with us, you know that Zack and I are two normal guys. We're just regular guys. I'm not like a pickup superhero. I don't go out and talk to the whole club. My whole philosophy on meeting and attracting women, it's about enjoying the woman. It's not about being social. It's not about impressing guys. It's not about learning a bunch of pickup tactics. I don't give a shit about any of that. That's just ridiculous in my opinion. The only thing I care about is to see the girl that I like, the girl that I'm attracted to, the girl that could potentially change my life, and know how to have a good chance of picking her up, of getting her number, of getting her out on a date, making her my girlfriend. That's all I'm interested in. And I hope that's all that you guys are interested in too, because that's all I'm going to talk about today. So the way to do that, the most effective way to do that is to change your mindsets. In my opinion, I look around this room, none of you need to add anything to your personality. You're all probably awesome guys. You're all probably funny, witty, and you know that you have this part of your personality already developed. The way you are around your friends, I'm sure all you have cool friends, all you go out, know how to have fun, kick back. But the problem is, when you see that girl in front of you, all of a sudden, all that drops out the window. You forget how to be that cool, charismatic, fun guy that all you already have. So my opinion is it's not about adding things to your personality. It's not about adding lines or tactics or strategies. It's only about changing the way you think, the way you view the world, so that way when the girl's in front of you, it's not this big epic battle. It's not this epic affair. So, you know, really values, that's your perception. What you value is the way you're going to see the world. So like I said, like you're all already like cool, funny, awesome guys around your friends. But the way you're looking at things makes it hard to translate that when the girl's in front of you. Because really attraction, and I've seen this play out over and over again, it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. The way people treat you is just a reflection of how you see them. And how you see them is just a reflection of the values you've been taught. And the problem is, a lot of the values that society teaches you, or even the pickup industry teaches you, it's not conducive to success. It doesn't put you in that headspace where you're walking up to the girl assuming that she likes you. You're walking up with all these doubts, all these issues, all these things going through your head that's just going to hold you back from being able to communicate your personality. So the thing is some of the stuff I might say might be offensive to you. You might get butthurt over what I have to say up here because, you know, I know when I first started out, I read all the books and I read all the theory and I went out and practiced this stuff, and I had a very concrete way of how I saw or how I thought attraction worked. And I remember I used to hear people say stuff that contradicted what I thought worked, and I would get pissed off. I would go on message boards and write 2-page responses to people telling them that a direct game couldn't work. And that's just ridiculous. And I got so offended, but what I didn't realize is if I had just looked at things objectively, I could have taken that opposing viewpoint and translated it into success. I'll tell you a story. It's funny. When Zack and I were first starting out with this stuff, and we were really trying to perfect our theory and our philosophy and try to really get to the bottom of what attraction really is, I remember there was this time we were in this pub in Wall Street. You can just imagine, it's a hustle bustle, people are running around, waitresses are everywhere. And I remember I saw this waitress that I was just absolutely drawn to. She was just absolutely beautiful, and I was watching her walk around. And Zack and I were sitting there, and this is when we still very much believed in that you had to go indirect and go under the radar and tell her a bunch of stories and do all the stuff before she could like you. And I remember I said to Zack, I said, you know what? There's no way I can go up to this girl and do all this stuff, but I have to meet this girl. I have to approach this girl. So I'm just going to go up to her, and I'm going to tell her she's hot, and she should give me her phone number, and we'll see how it goes. And Zack was like, oh, shit, man, don't do it. But I was like, no, I'm doing it. So got up, and as I was getting up, I remember I turned around to Zack, and I was like, look, if I get kicked out, just meet me outside. And I was dead serious. I literally thought if I told the girl I was attracted to her, I would get my ass kicked, or I'd get kicked out of a bar, or Mystery was gonna appear out of a cloud and be like, don't tell you're gay first, I just literally thought that, this was this was my belief system, that I thought that this could never work. But I was willing to try it. I went up, stopped her, told her she was hot, and surprisingly, she was happy about it and gave me her phone number. And this was amazing to me. This totally contradicted everything I had learned up to this point. And it was so hard to accept that. It was so hard to throw away all my old values. And this is why I understand what all you guys are going through. And I understand when guys go on message boards and they flame each other and they have these dick wars over whose method's better and whose theory. We all laugh about it. We all make fun of those guys. But I understand where they're coming from because I came from there too. So again, if I say stuff that's offensive or challenges your values, I just ask you to be patient with it, to give it a try, keep an open mind. All right. Because ultimately, why are we all here? Why are you guys sitting here? To get girls. That's the answer. And it's so funny. The answer is so fucking obvious, but at the same time, so many people don't do this to get women. They do it to be more social. They do it to improve their pickup skills. They do it to impress guys. And I'm going to go. We're gonna look at all those different things, throughout this talk. But I just want you guys to just make sure you know why you're doing this. You're doing this because you love women. It's out of a love for women, a genuine curiosity, a genuine attraction to women, and wanting to improve that. And that's awesome. And that's why you're all sitting here. So just keep that in the back of your mind as I go through my slides here. So you have to say no to dick logic. Dick logic is what the term I use for stuff that makes perfect sense to guys. When you read this stuff, you're like, oh, this is awesome. I can't wait to go out and do this. But it does not appeal to women, okay? It's advice by men for men. Maybe if you're picking up guys, try out some dick logic. But if you want to meet women, forget it, okay? And dick logic, I'm going to throw a couple of examples out here. I don't think you need to go out and demonstrate that you're pre-selected before a girl can be attracted to you. I don't think some girl, if I see a girl I'm attracted to, I don't think, she needs to see me with 13 girls before I go up and approach her. I don't believe you need to get into state to get girls. I think that's absurd. What, you need to go talk to 3 girls before you can approach the girl you like? That's just, if you put that theory into your head, again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe, I need to do a warm-up set, or I need to do a certain number of approaches before I could feel natural or normal, then that's the way you're going to feel. But I don't believe that shit. I think that's all dick logic. I think that's stuff that guys have said to you, and now you believe it. But I think it's bullshit, because I know myself, when I believed it, it was true. But once I threw that out, once Zack and I, because I watched Zack, me and Zack would go out, and I'd watch Zack go up to the first girl he'd approach and go home with her. And I'd be like, where's the 3 warm-up sets? Where's all stuff? Where's the pre-selection? All this stuff. And I realized this is all stuff that just men made up, and it's just absurd. So I don't believe in it. And again, like I said before, this talk is all about just getting you to that point where you can just see the girls you want and get them, and without all this nonsense in between. You know, and I'm breaking up the bromance, guys. Like, the bromance is over. It's all about getting girls, not getting high fives from guys. Like, I don't care about if I'm loved by the layer, the internet, you know, whatever. I'm just all I care about is that I'm with girls that I find attractive and to be quality women. So again, focusing on women. Focusing on women, that really sifts away a lot of the bullshit. It only matters about two people. There's two people you need to effectively communicate. Those two people are, first, yourself. Effective communication begins with yourself. That's what I was saying before. It's your values, the way you see the world. Because if you can effectively communicate with yourself, if you're in tune with your personality, that's a starting point. And then you just translate that to her. So two people, yourself and her. The only two people you need to effectively communicate with. All right? So let's spend a little time just solidifying how to effectively communicate with yourself. So empowering mindsets, seeing girls as girls. You know, I see it. You know, I'm from New York, and I see it over and over. Guys are going out like they're going to fucking Middle Earth to do battle with women. Like, look, these girls are not Gandalf. Like, they're not like the dragon you have to slay. Okay, this isn't a military operation. Like, I see these guys. They come into the club. I'll be sitting there at my favorite rooftop bar with like my girlfriend or a girl I'm talking to, and all of a sudden I'll see like the fucking door kick in, and like 8 guys like swarming the place, and they're going like in 8 different directions, and they're like, oh, wingman, you know, blah blah blah. You use these like 3-letter acronyms, dude. This is not a military operation. It's meeting girls. It's the most natural, awesome thing you could do with your time. Why make it into this epic battle? Like, we're not going to Middle Earth. For those of you who went out last night, you know, it's like, and you know, I see a lot of smiles, and that's cool because it should be fun. It should be just like a fun thing. It's like when Zack and I go out, it's going out with my best friend to meet girls. What could be cooler than that? That's all I'm doing. I'm going to do 2 things, maybe 3 things. Hang out with my friends, meet girls, and possibly get drunk. That's it. That's all I want to do, you know? So again, take this idea of pickup being this epic warfare or this battle, this grand duel with women, just eliminate it. They're just girls. And not only that, but they're girls that want to meet you. And this is a belief that was so hard for me to accept, but once I did, my quote-unquote game skyrocketed, okay? Because if you think about it, and really, and I know a lot of people have brought this up, but really just think about this for a second. How much would your game change if you approached girls believing, like truly believing, they wanted to meet you? How much would it change what you did, what you said, okay? Like, really think about that. How would it change the opener? You know how it would change the opener? There'd be no fucking opener. Why would you need an opener if the girl already wanted to talk to you? If the girl's attracted to you, why throw out like some kind of like wild opener? Why have to do anything? All you have to do is just go up and talk to her. Why do you need like strategies or like ways to talk to her, ways to get her invested, ways to like knock her self-esteem down a little bit? I don't see that at all. Why would I have to do that? When I walk up to girls, I see them as girls that already want to meet me. Because it's so funny, you know? I have girlfriends and when I talk to them, they tell me, like, it's so funny because they know what I do, and they can identify pickup guys very, very, very quickly. And I was just talking to my girlfriend Kelly last night, and she was saying, oh my God, like, I met one of those guys that studies that stuff you teach, and it was so funny. This guy was so cute, and he was so funny, but then he acted so weird. Like, why does he have to do this stuff? You know, he was saying all these lines and doing all this stuff. Like, he doesn't have to do this. And, you know, that's the thing. These girls are just out to meet you. They're going to the club. They're getting dressed up. They want to meet cool guys. So drop out all the stuff that doesn't. If it doesn't promote you hooking up with her or you meeting her, you getting her number, let it go. Drop it out. You don't need it. Because that's the thing. So much of pickup theory indicates that you don't believe the girl wants to meet you. Even compartmentalizing like a pickup into openers and you know, vibing and storytelling and comfort and rapport, that stuff should just be natural. It's not stuff to think about. And when you're compartmentalizing it and saying, oh, I need to work on this aspect of my pickup, that means that you don't believe the girl genuinely wants to meet you. Because like, she's not thinking about this. She's not sitting there saying, oh, how can I build comfort with this guy? How can I get into rapport? How do I transition into a sexual vibe? She's not thinking this. So why should you? If you start thinking it, you're going to make it weird. You're going to freak her out. All right? Because on a typical night out, like, again, I see these guys in New York. they act like fucking buffoons. It's complete clownery. They walk into the club, right? I mean, and I'll give you a very specific story. I remember there was this night that Zack and I were out, and we saw this guy. He was just outrageous, like peacocking his tits off, you know, high-fiving everyone, spinning girls around, talking a mile a minute, merging sets, doing all this stuff. And he knew who we were, so he came over to us, and he started like machine gunning questions at us, like how to get the 30-second makeout, how to transition into a sexual vibe with the threesome with the model, you know, all these like really like typical questions you'd expect from a guy like this. And remember, I just looked at him, and I was like, look, all right, question. On my best night, how many approaches do you think I do? How many? And I thought this was a really simple question. Really simple question. But this guy looked so confused. I felt bad for him. I thought steam was going to start coming out of his ears, you know? He was just like, he was doing like mental math. He was trying to figure it out. And if I ask you guys that, how many approaches do you think I do on my best night? Exactly. One approach. My best nights, one approach, one girl, one happy Rob. That's it. Like, there's no reason for me to do a bunch of warm-up approaches. Like, literally, I mean, I'm not saying every night it goes like this. I'm not saying every night the first girl I approach is the girl that you know, I end up with, you know, for the rest of the night. That's not necessarily always the way it goes down. But that's the number I'm thinking in my head. I don't go out thinking, oh, I should do 3 warm-up approaches, then do my approach. I don't go out thinking, oh, I need to demonstrate social proof. I don't go out thinking, oh, I need to show I'm pre-selected. I think to myself, I'm going out to do one approach. And if that one doesn't go well, I'll do another one. So that's really like, that's kind of thinking that like you really need to shift to if you want to like really make this completely normal. If you want to be able to do this around your friends that aren't your pickup friends. Because I know that like your non-pickup friends, they see you running around talking to a bunch of girls, and then you tell them, oh, I need to talk to these girls before I can talk to that girl. They're going to be like, why? It's so weird. And it is weird. And if it's weird to like normal people, it's going to be weird to everyone, especially girls. And so this is really important because I bring this up is the myth of perfection. And the reason this is so important is because this ties in with the idea of needing a lot of approaches. Is that a lot of guys think that they need to go out and they need to approach a lot of people and get into state and develop and have all these tactics and stuff because the approach has to be perfect. I'm sure in your head that like if you could imagine like any of the instructors up here, when they talk to girls, it seems like they have like these amazing things to say, and they're always controlling the frame or super confident, and they're like the escalation is very smooth and like nonchalant. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not like that. If you watch me, I'm sloppy, I make mistakes. Sometimes I'll be drunk and I'll be talking to girls and I'll just say stupid shit. And you know what? I see that as ideal. This is another way to think about it. Ideally, your approach will suck, but the girl will like you anyway. Because you know what happens then? The bar is set super low. If she already likes you and your approach sucked, you can only go up from there. That's the thing, you know, it ties in with the opener, right? It's this opener fallacy. It's like everyone's always searching for the perfect opener. It's like the question I always get asked. Like, oh, what's the perfect opener? What's the best pickup line? How can I get this girl to talk to me? And you know what's funny? Zack and I had the perfect opener. We were obsessed with this for a while, and we figured it out. Look, I'm a writer. We drafted this opener. We did like revisions. We tried it. I must have approached at least 500 girls with this one opener, and this opener was the shit, okay? This was like, it seemed nonchalant. And I would tell you guys what it is, but I don't even want to do it because it won't help you. It'll only hurt you. If I gave you the perfect opener, like the most Shakespearean material to spit at girls to open a conversation, it would just fuck you over in the end. And the reason for that is because where are you going to go from there? The bar is set so high now. Like if you go up and you're like James Bond, where are you going to take that? Like that is such an act. So my opinion is, if any of you have seen my infield videos or see me out with girls, you'll hear the same thing. Hey, I thought you were adorable, I wanted to meet you. Hey, I thought you were adorable, I wanted to meet you. Sometimes I don't even say words. Sometimes I just mumble. Because my opinion is, if I could open with that, I could only go up. If I open like a fucking Neanderthal, and then all of a sudden she sees I'm this educated guy, I can only go up from there. So I advocate setting the bar extremely low on terms of like the material you think that's okay, because if you set that bar low, it's going to make you so much more attractive. Like, what do you think is more attractive, the material you say or how you react to it? But if you have this like built-up image in your head that you need the perfect opener and the perfect approach, all of a sudden when that doesn't, because you would never be perfect and you're going to make a mistake at some point, when you make that mistake, you're going to go into a tailspin. You're all of a sudden going to say, oh shit, like I shouldn't have said that, blah, 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 blah. And that's why guys who get into this and study too much material get neurotic, because they build this image in their head. And yeah, you know what? The marketing copy that you read on websites and the hype and all this stuff, it definitely doesn't help, because that stuff also puts forth the idea in your head that, oh, I need this perfect approach. I need the perfect opener. I need the perfect banter lines. I need scripted material. You don't need any of that. Trust me, because I had all that material. I had the best, I'd say I had the best scripted material probably any instructor in this community. I would go out and just practice this stuff nonstop. Again, I'm a professional writer. I used to sit down and write this stuff up. I used to like study all the material and come up with my own routines, and I would go out and try it. And you know what? Didn't get me shit. It never got me the girlfriend I wanted. It never got me any kind of real measurable success. When I actually really started to like meet and attract and date our company says, the hotter girls, like the really, really quality girls that every guy wants. When I actually started to accomplish that, it was because I took the bar and I set it way low. I took it and put it down here because I figured, you know what? I can't keep this act up forever. I can't just go out and do all this like crazy shit and constantly, keep up this like little song and a dance for a girl. Fuck that. I'll go out and I'll just be myself, and I'll walk up to her with these empowering mindsets, and that's what's going to get the girl. So really important. And once you do that, you're going to take the pressure off yourself and start making it fun. I mean, you're there to meet girls, right? So just take that pressure off, be okay with imperfection, and go out and just have a blast. All right, so now I want to move into another point of my talk, which is your motivation. Now, we already went over the objective. The objective is obviously to get girls, is to meet women, is to get better with your skills of meeting and attracting, really quality women. But there has to be a motivation behind that. And no one really talks about this because it's very abstract. It's not necessarily something that's easy to put your finger on, right? Because we all know that guys get into this for all different motivations. Like, are you trying to like possess women? Maybe it was like a relationship that went really bad, and you don't even know it, but you're just doing this to get back at women, to try to like even the score, feel good about yourself. You think maybe if you bang a bunch of girls, you'll get some kind of self-esteem from that, or derive some kind of identity from that. Maybe you're just looking to improve your pickup skills. It gives you a sense of power. It gives you a sense of belonging. Maybe it's you just want to become more social. Maybe like you're an introvert, and this is something that's really important, that you learn how to become more extroverted. Maybe it's you want to impress the guys at the lair. You want to look really cool in front of your friends. And I went through a lot of these motivations, and you know how you know it? I remember there was a point when I would be like making out with a girl in a club, and I'd be looking around, seeing like if the guys I went out with were seeing this, and that's not a good motivation. I remember there was a point when I first got into this where I broke up with my girlfriend of 5 years, and I just really wanted to go out, and I kind of did all this as like revenge against her, and that's not a good motivation to do it, and I went through all this. These are all phases I went through. Like, I'm not getting up here speaking to you guys, on an armchair from a vacuum. All the stuff I'm talking to you about, I don't mean to sound condescending, because I went through all this, and I'm just getting up here because I don't want you guys to have to go through this. Like, I want to like give you guys a shortcut so that you guys can go out tonight and improve and get the girls you want. So when I really boiled it down, right, and I really had to figure out what the key motivation is, and this is one thing in my philosophy that guys always connect with. When they hear this, they're able to just go out and translate it into success, because this will get you over your approach anxiety. This will get you over any kind of anxiety you have about escalating, about moving things forward. This one thing, just change your motivation, and change that motivation to finding out the truth. Okay? And I know that sounds like ridiculously abstract and like philosophical and pretentious, but really, you have to think about this, because I've been out with a lot of amazing guys in this industry, and just regular guys who are just awesome with women, and I've seen the way they interact with women. And none of these guys are going up trying to possess the girl. None of these guys are going up trying to impress other guys. The only reason these guys are doing it is to find out the truth. Because look, when I see a hot girl, I don't see like, oh, I need to number close this girl. I don't see, oh, I need to try out my new opener. I don't see, oh, if I get this girl, my friends will think I'm cool. The only thing I see is I see that there's truth in that situation. There's a truth about her, right? You could walk up, she could be the most amazing girl in the world. She could be the coolest girl, have the greatest personality, and that's the truth you want to find out. Maybe she's a total bitch. Maybe she's in a rush. Maybe she has zero personality. You have no idea. But until you approach her, you don't know that truth. And even, all right, so say she blows you out in 2 seconds, right? Like she immediately just, boom, shuts it down. You found out a truth about yourself, about your bravery, about your ability to overcome that adversity, about that internal struggle. You can find out a truth about you and her together, right? How do you guys interact together? You find out a truth about women in general, how women react, about the way women think. You can even find out truths about dating. The whole reason I'm up here is because I've gone out and I was looking for the truth night after night. And gradually, I've learned everything I'm talking about up here. So that's the thing. The truth is all you can really hope to get. You can't possess the girl. You can't, impress your friends. You can't do any of this because that's all predicated on other people's reactions to you. But you can get at the truth, and that's so important. I remember I was out one night with Entropy, and we were at this bar in Boston. It's like really high-end, really nice club. And I saw this girl, and Entropy saw me checking her out. She was this gorgeous Japanese girl, and she was there with like 6 MMA fighter-looking guys. And Entropy, he kept showing me checking her out, and he's like, well, you got to find out the truth about that. Kind of baiting me to try out my own philosophy. And you know what? I did. And the truth in that situation was that girl didn't want to meet me, but the thing was that normally that situation would really I wouldn't do it because I'd have too much approach anxiety. Even as a coach, I mean, you don't you see one girl, 6 guys, 6 big guys who kick the shit out of you. You don't want to do it. But you know what the truth was? Those guys, they were cool. Whatever. They weren't bad guys, and she wasn't a bad girl. It was just I just found the truth. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right night. But that's the thing. It'll get you over your approach anxiety. Just focus on that one thing. When those feelings of approach anxiety build up in you, just think to yourself, what's the truth? I need to find out the truth. I need to find out about this girl. I need to find out about girls in general. Whatever truth you want to focus on, make that your motivation. Because that's what's going to get you to put that first foot forward. Because you guys all know that's all that matters. You put that first foot forward, the other one's going to follow. And you're going to walk up and approach that girl. Whether it's in the daytime, nighttime, bad situation, great situation, it doesn't matter. Just approach for that truth, wanting to get at that truth. And that's the thing, is you live by the truth, you get blown out by the truth. Sometimes, like I said, it doesn't always go great. But what you're going to find out is that, first of all, it's not a big deal. And secondly, a lot of times it's pretty fucking funny, I mean, I know my favorite stories of approaching girls have nothing to do with, the amazing approaches, I pulled the girl off, the 3 guys, blew these guys, whatever kind of insert awesome brag story here. Those are not my favorite stories. My favorite stories are the ones where, Zack and I had a girl scream that we're disgusting, go nuts. I remember, I wrote about this in our book. I remember one time I went up to some girl, and I thought I was trying to be like James Bond. I was, twirling a martini glass between my fingers, and the glass slipped out of my hands, and it shattered on the floor, and everyone in the club did the dick chant, from 7th grade, or dick, dick. And you know what? I found out? The truth was in that situation? The dick chant is still pretty fucking funny, That's the thing. I don't care. Because when you approach for the truth, it doesn't matter. It's not a reflection on you. There's no reason to get all offended and get all sad and to be like, oh, I suck, or my pickup skills suck. It's look, you just found out the truth. Big fucking deal. And it's probably something to laugh about later. So really important way to think. All right. So we went over why it's about you. So once you can effectively communicate with yourself, then it's about her, okay? So you have these empowering mindsets. You have this way to look at the world. Now it's appropriate to approach girls in a way that's attractive. And again, I'm not going to get up here and just give a bunch of abstract ways to think, in your own head and empowering beliefs. Because that's not my style. I like to give very applicable information as well. So the way to look at this is, remember, the action's primary, the results are secondary. That it's more important that you go up and approach the girl, even if it totally sucks, than it is about actually getting the girl. But again, we're all here because we want to get better, we want to improve in our skills in dating. So just remember that, so effective communication, it begins with yourself and it ends with the girl. There's no middlemen. There's no middleman in that. There's no AMOGs. There's no dudes on the internet. There's no, wingman. All that stuff I don't concentrate on. So all I care about is yourself and the girl. So now let's talk about the girl. Let's talk about how to, communicate attractively. Because the way I see it, there's only 4 ways you can communicate with a woman in a way that's attractive. I mean, there's plenty of ways you can communicate with your mom or your friends or a girl that you're not attracted to. But when you're attracted to a woman, I put my personality through it's almost like a prism. You know how light goes through a prism and it breaks into a rainbow? I kind of put my personality through a prism, and it goes through this, and it breaks into 4 different categories of behavior. Those categories are drive, inspiration, connection, and mechanics. And I'm going to explain what all 4 of those things are, but just to give you a sense of how that relates to your personality is, I think you guys can all attract women with your natural personality. You just need to balance certain things, right? Most of the mistakes you make with women, they're not mistakes. You're just doing it at the wrong time. Say for instance, you go up to a girl and you try to get her number too quickly and she says no. You didn't get rejected, and you didn't do the wrong thing, because you have to ask for that girl's number at some point in the interaction. You might have done it too soon. Say you open a girl and you were too direct. Say you creeped her out. You went up and you were way too sexual, and she got creeped out and walked away. You didn't do anything necessarily wrong. Let's be serious. We're adults here. You have to be sexual at some point in the interaction, but at the same time, you probably did it too early, or you did too much of it. There was probably a point where you could have balanced that with some more of your genuine personality. You could have lightened it up a little bit. You could have taken the edge off your sexuality, off the sexual tension by providing a little bit of a release. So again, every mistake you've made. I know myself, when I first got into this, a big mistake I was making was I was always getting put in the friend zone. I was always talking to girls and being really nice to them and connecting with them and really wanting to get to know them, but I wasn't moving things forward sexually or romantically, so I was getting put in the friend zone. And that connecting with women and being curious about them and wanting to get to know them, that's not the wrong thing to do. I was just doing it at the wrong time, and I was doing it without a balance. I wasn't balancing it with the other 3 elements. So what I'm going to talk about, these 3 elements, the way these work is they all balance each other, and they're all just various things you need to do at various times. And it's just a prism through which you can shine your personality. All right, so let's start with drive. That's genuine sexual attraction for a woman. Look, she knows it, you know it, so just make it awesome. I mean, look, you're not tricking anyone going indirect. She knows why you're talking to her. Girls are not stupid. She's out of the bar. There's no reason why you'd start a conversation with her if you weren't sexually attracted to her. So rather than try to hide it, because the biggest thing about drive is I think a lot of guys try to hide their drive, and what's up? Cool. I think an issue with a lot of guys is they try to hide their drive. They try to hide it from themselves, and they try to hide it from the girl. Rather than sit in denial of the fact that you're sexually attracted to her, just be okay with it. And I'm not saying you need to go direct. That's not your style. It comes down to your personality. But you should be honest with yourself, and you should be honest with the woman. And the way I see it is you should be shameless about it. A lot of the girls, like my girlfriend now, she said her favorite thing about me is the fact that that I'm very upfront about how I feel about her. And that's not being needy. That's not being whatever AFC chode, whatever label you want to put on it. It's not any of that. What that is being confident, it's knowing what you want. You're being needy when you need something from her, when you're not looking at that truth. But the way I see it is yeah, she's an attractive girl, and of course I want to get to know her better. Of course I want to be sexual with her, because that's natural. That's biologically normal. And I don't try to hide that from myself. I'm very confident about that. I'm very shameless about it. So I would definitely advocate you all take that attitude of being shameless and just being okay with that natural masculine drive you have. Okay? 2, inspiration. That's emotional transparency of your personality, okay? You have to understand how to access your creativity, because you're all creative, you're all funny, you're all witty. But the thing is that if you don't access those mindsets that gives you that ability to communicate that, that part of your personality, it's never going to come out. So Ways to do that is, again, first of all, setting the bar low. Like, I'm not going to get up here and tell you lines that I use. You should just use your own personality. Ways to access your creativity, your inspiration, is focus on visual things. Things that you can see, those are the things you should talk about. Because when you talk about, say you go up to a girl and you start talking about how you like her earrings or how you like some aspects, some article of clothing that she's wearing. That is so much better than any routine, because first you're telling her something about her, which is what everyone wants to hear about anyway. People love hearing about themselves. But you're also showing her the way that you perceive the world, the way that you see her, the reason that you like her, the earring, that you like the article of clothing. When you communicate that to her, that communicates an aspect of your personality. And the way that drive and inspiration work is they complement each other. On the one hand, you need to be sexual with the girl. You need to put that drive forward. You need to approach her. You need to show that you're interested in her. But also, too, you can't let that go on for too long, because eventually she's going to get creeped out. So you need to. She's going to think, oh, you're just like every other guy that's approached her like that. So you need to balance that element with the inspiration. So one way I always tell guys to do it is that if you're going to approach direct, do it with a smile. Do it laughing. Do it in a way that's fun, because that will take, something that's sexual, it's something that could potentially be awkward, and it balances it with something that's very, very easy to get into, very, very easy for girls to be okay with. That's why girls will be totally fine with guys that directly hit on them if they think if it seems fun. Like, girls will do anything if it seems fun. Anyone would do anything if it seems fun. So that's the thing. So you want to balance those two elements. All right? So the next one, connection. Creating an emotionally relevant relationship. And when I say connection, a lot of guys think it's about learning facts about the girl, or it's about reciting your biological or biographical history or whatever about where you grew up, what you do for a living. To me, that stuff's all bullshit. That stuff has no emotional relevance. What building a connection is really about is about sharing emotions, okay? And there's all experiences that you and the girl can connect on. When you lost your virginity, when you had your first alcoholic drink, a time when you were totally embarrassed. These are things that happen to everyone. We're all humans. We all feel these things. And that's how people build connections. That's how rapport and comfort is built. She'll trust you if she sees you're an emotionally normal, stable person. And the way you show her that is by connecting over shared experiences. So figure out the experiences that you've had that you find to be emotionally relevant, and that's the stuff that you should connect with women on, okay? So let's move to the next element here is mechanics, the roadmap for moving things forward smoothly. What's funny is the community is really great for this. The pickup community and the dating advice literature, this is where I think it really has its value, because there are certain things that a woman, like a way to move things forward where it's smooth, where the transitions aren't bumpy. Whenever, basic physics, whenever things move forward, there's going to be friction. So whenever you move an interaction forward, she's going to push back. There's going to be friction. You're going to hit road bumps. And the key to mechanics is taking all the friction out of the, all the awkwardness out of the interaction. Okay. And the ways to do that, it's you can open in a way that makes her feel comfortable. Even the over the back opening. It's kind of corny now, but that's still it's a way that it takes some of the friction out of two strangers meeting. The way you set up a date, right? You could try to set up a date that if you want to end up if you're hoping that the date ends in your bedroom or whatever. You could awkwardly suggest it at the end of the date, or you could set up a date where maybe you have a candlelit dinner in your apartment and you're already one room away from your bedroom. So these are all ways that just ways to think. And again, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I think the community really has a lot of really good things to say about the various ways to take the edge off of moving an interaction forward. But this is where it has its time and its place, There is 1/4 of your personality should be coming through in that mechanics element. You should be thinking about how can I move this forward in a way that's smooth and in a way that it's not going to put her guard up. It's not going to get her to object to it. All right, and like I said before, balance, that's the secret to attracting women. Each of these 4 elements, it has an appropriate time and an appropriate place, okay? There's a time to be sexual. There's a time to show your personality. There's a time to connect with women, and there's a time to move things forward. And by going out and by practicing, you start developing an intuitive sense for when it's time to do whatever element is needed in that moment. So just to give you a quick run through, in a typical approach, so say I approach a girl at a bar. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my foot forward, and the approach for me starts when you put that first foot forward, right? Because you're already demonstrating your drive. You're already saying to yourself, okay, I'm sexually attracted to this girl, and I want to meet her. So you put that foot forward, you're already acting on your drive. So that to me, that's when the approach begins. That's why when you don't approach girls, when you get approach anxiety and chicken out and don't approach the girl, that's a rejection. That to me is a rejection. That's a problem, because that means that you didn't even act on your drive. So the approach begins right here. Boom. I put my foot forward, I walk up to the girl, and I start talking to her. I might say, I like to open directs. I might again, I'm gonna use a really shitty opener because I don't really believe in openers. So I might say, hey, I thought you were adorable. I wanted to come meet you. Or hey, I thought you were cute. I wanted to come meet you. And boom, now all of a sudden I've demonstrated my drive, and now it's important that I balance that drive, because if I keep sitting there and keep saying, oh yeah, you're hot, yeah baby, like I want to go over and meet you, you're sexy, that's too much drive. She's like, oh, that's creepy. So what I'm going to say after that is I'm going to smile, and I might start saying, oh, and also too, you're wearing the Hamburglar shirt. I remember, girls would wear these striped shirts. I'm like, you look, it's awesome. You get bonus points for looking at the Hamburglar. And now she might laugh. So now all of a sudden I've demonstrated my personality. I've injected a little humor into it. So now she could feel okay about allowing that drive element. Now I might move into like a connection topic. I might say, what are you here with? What is it, like girls' night out? You guys out, getting wild? So boom, now all of a sudden we can vibe on that. We can start talking about, girls' night out, being out with friends. Those are emotionally relevant, rapport-building type things. And then I might say, it's a little bit loud over here. Why don't we move somewhere a little bit quieter? I might take her by the hand and move her 10 feet away from her friends, so we can have a more intimate conversation. And so right there, the four elements in motion. And that to me is a great approach, because on the one hand, I walked up with the empowering beliefs. I've effectively communicated with myself. I've walked up assuming that this girl wants to meet me. On top of that, I think the mic, there we go. On top of that, I also am communicating in a way that's attractive to her, that allows her to feel comfortable and okay with moving the interaction forward. So that's kind of like my philosophy in a nutshell. And when you learn to interact with these four elements, you're going to learn about yourself. It's so funny. Some of the best material that's come out of my mouth, like some of the funniest things I've said, or some of the moments I've acted with the most bravery I've ever had, or done things I never thought I could do, were just moments when I've approached women. Moments in clubs where I did really well with a girl, and I was talking to her, and I really liked her, and just the conversation was great, and it was just a girl that I was really enjoying, interacting with. I learned about myself. And what's so cool is that truth is waiting for all of you guys too. There are things about your personality that you're going to learn just by going out tonight and, adopting these empowering mindsets and, talking to women according to these four elements. So, again, you're much more attractive, funny, charming, witty than you ever have given yourself credit for. So, that's something to go out and look for. So I kind of want to end it on just getting out and finding the truth. A question I always ask my students, and I always ask at Layer Talks, and I always ask even with guys that don't even know much about community literature, if we start talking about girls, because every guy loves talking about women, talking about girls they've approached, I always ask, how many girls have you regretted approaching? How many? Like in this room, has anyone ever regretted approaching? I'm not saying the approach had to be great. I'm not saying it had to be like the perfect approach, or maybe the girl turned out to be something less than what you expected. But have you ever regretted an approach? Exactly. You never regret an approach. Just like you don't regret going to the gym. You don't regret, because approaching girls is healthy. It's normal. It's what a biologically normal heterosexual guy wants to do. He wants to go out and approach women. He wants to go out and find that truth. So that's the thing. Always keep that in the back of your mind. You're never going to regret that approach. I've never regretted it. I've had some approaches blow up in my fucking face, and I don't care. I will never regret those approaches, because I've always learned something. I've always learned something about myself, about the situation, about how not to approach a girl. Whatever it is, I've learned something from approaching women. So it's just so important that you always keep that in the back of your mind, that you're never going to regret approaching her, ever. So Just go out and find that truth. And again, just I always remind you, it's about you, then it's about her. Remember, action primary, results are secondary. So guys, I really appreciate you guys coming out. I know it's really early in the morning, but I think we have some time to do some questions. Peter? Yeah, do you guys have any questions? Like I said, I know that this is kind of more of a abstract talk, but I got up here just from my experiences in the community. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of stuff that I just didn't really find to be very effective, and it wasn't until I really adopted these mindsets that I really started getting the results I wanted. So that's the thing. So if it seems a little abstract and seems a little weird, just give it some time to kind of register. And anyone have any questions?
One thing you seemed to talk a lot about was going in and being yourself, not doing some of the routines, not worrying about openers. It seems like a lot of guys, and myself included, it takes a lot of confidence in yourself and self-identity, self-beliefs that you deserve whatever girl you're going to. And it seems like, especially young guys, they don't have that self-confidence, self-beliefs. How did you develop that for yourself? What was it?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I know it's, and I said right in the beginning, I came from a place probably worse off than any of you guys. I really had a lot of negative beliefs about myself and about women and about the world and about a lot of things. It was not a good situation when I got into this. So the way I got over it is, again, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's funny. It might happen a little bit at a time. But allow like that belief to germinate, because what's going to happen is you're going to start walking up to women, and like I said, like I look at you, I don't see any reason why a girl wouldn't be attracted to you. I don't see any reason why you couldn't go out and meet the girl that you wanted to meet, and why you would need any kind of like routine or any kind of tactic to meet this girl. Aside from just keeping those 4 things that I outlined in mind, I don't see why a girl would ever say, "Oh no, this isn't a guy I want to meet." And that's the thing, is that when you accept that belief and you start going out and just approaching girls like that, like not worrying about the opener, not worrying about doing the right thing at the right time, just like letting that myth of perfection drop out of your head, that's when all of a sudden you're going to start seeing that girls, like that's when you start, like, and it happens little by little, but you'll see that girls like just seem to like you more. The interactions are better. The girls stop flaking. All of a sudden girls are calling you. They're trying to kiss you. All of a sudden these things start happening and you're like, wait a minute, like this girl really liked me. I didn't do any of my awesome routine, or this girl was totally receptive when I opened her. I didn't have to do the 10-minute opener that me and Zack, crafted over 6 months. That's the thing. I would just say, really, like, just try it. Just go out and just forget about all this shit. Forget about like the opener and doing all this stuff. Just go up and one thing I do with students a lot. I tell them, go up and get blown out. Go up and fuck it up, and like if you don't fuck it up, I'm gonna be pissed. And they go up and they try to screw up, they try to to mess up, and those are usually the girls that me and the students spend the entire night with, talking to, interacting with, because again, you set that bar low. Like, how much does that say about you, that you can walk up to a girl and you don't even give a shit what you say because you just assume that she likes you? What do you think that's going to communicate about the way you see yourself, about your identity, about how much confidence you have, that you don't care? Like I was saying before, like my girlfriends that go out and they meet guys at a lot of the clubs you go to, and they meet these pickup guys. Once he sees that he's trying, once he sees that he's like thinking of things to say and he's in his own head, immediately she's turned off. She's like, why is he doing this? Why is this guy acting this way? Why can't I just get to know this guy? Why does it seem like he has this whole song and a dance prepared for me? So that's kind of the long answer for that. Did that kind of answer your question? Yeah. Cool. All right, anyone else? Yeah, no, absolutely, Nick. No, dude, no, absolutely.
Just to bank off what you said really quickly. Just ask yourself a question. You talked about building confidence and speaking there. You talked about building confidence and how hard that is to get to maybe where you might be coming from as a younger guy to get where maybe Rob is right now or some other guys. And yeah, it is hard. It's very, very hard. But it's a mountain to climb. But I want to ask you, what do you think is going to be more helpful for building confidence? And I want to ask every guy, what do you think is going to be better for building your confidence? To use a line that's not yours, that you read somewhere, to whereas even if a girl likes that, even if a girl responds well to that, she's doing it because of this line, or putting yourself out there, just being yourself, as cliched as that sounds, and getting a positive response from that. You just going out, even if you suck, even if the bar is as low as possible, putting yourself out there, and she responds positively to that. Maybe she will, but if she does, how do you think that's going to feel for your confidence? What do you think is going to give you more confidence and make you feel better about yourself and continue the snowball rolling in the right direction? It's a question. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point. That's something that Darren, DJ Fuji brought up yesterday. I thought was really good. Every time you're using like a line or a scripted routine, you're actually kind of poisoning your inner game. And I don't really ascribe to like the whole like inner outer game dichotomy. But I thought that was a great point because it's so true. If you're going up and even, but I think it even goes beyond just the lines and the routines. Like if you're going up saying, oh, I need to do this tactic to get her to like me, it's like what do you think about yourself? What's your own beliefs? And and the only reason I bring this up, if that stuff was effective, I would just teach it. If that stuff worked for me, but I tried it for years, and I found I got so much more success when I just dropped that out and I just said, okay, you know what, like I'm gonna be imperfect. I'm gonna, there might be points when I suck. There might be points when I just say complete gibberish, and I'm gonna have to accept that. And I don't really care because I started looking at women as, oh, these girls want to meet me, rather than, oh, I'm trying to go out and possess this girl, or like I need to win her over. I just kind of like let that mindset go.
So I like the way that you're talking about how you go out and try to be yourself, and if you get a positive reaction off of that, then it really helps your self-esteem. But I'm at the point where my mechanics is very clunky, right? So I go out and try to be myself, but then with everything not moving so smoothly, it seems like I get a lot more rejections off of that versus getting positive reactions. So how would you feel about like what are your thoughts on that? How like the self-esteem hit versus like the gain off a positive reaction that's not?
That's a good question, and that's why I kind of developed this 4-element system, because guys can, like you said, like you can figure out, okay, this is where I'm going wrong. Like my mechanics element is I'm like clunky, and that's a common problem. So one thing I would even advocate you do, if you really feel like that, like you're not like that, you're trying to like, I don't know where you're running into problems, but say like it's like, isolating a girl or getting a girl to come out, whether it's like text game, you're losing girls like from flaking or whatever, then yes, like I would advocate like trying to find some material that you like, that you find like interesting. Like again, like I like if I'm gonna isolate a girl, like my favorite thing to say to a girl is, oh, it's loud over here, let's just move over here. But like I've used stuff that I've read or I've heard people say, I'm like, oh, that's a funny line, I'm gonna use it. Like, oh, I'm gonna show you this magical balcony, whatever it is, and take a girl by the hand and move her. So definitely you want to look at like taking that edge off of what you're trying to do. But yeah, so that's one way you can do it. And what was the other part of your question? You said the mechanics element is clunky and.
Well, the thing is, it seems like I get more negative reactions than positive reactions.
Yeah.
But I try to like do away with a lot of the lines and everything. I just try to go up and talk to her. But like as you said, when you get a positive reaction, it reinforces like your self-esteem. Kind of like, oh, I am myself, and she likes me for me.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's I am myself, but she doesn't like me for that.
Yeah, but you know what? It really probably. It's probably not so much what you're like. It's no reflection on you. It's definitely something that's going wrong. I'm sure that like when you start getting negative reactions, I'm sure right before, and like if you can pinpoint this, I'm sure right before you have a negative reaction, a thought's going through your head. Like something might be like, oh, I need something. Like this girl's really hot. I need to impress her. Even if it's unconscious, because I had the same problem. I realized the exact same thing. Cause I thought the same thing. It's like I said, when I first heard about Natural Game, because I've been in this for a long time, I first heard about Natural Game, I was like, this is ridiculous, this is absurd, these guys are just doing like, this isn't even pickup anymore. This is just a bunch of guys just going out and just doing whatever the hell they want. That's just retarded. But what I realized is that it's not retarded, because what started happening is I realized that like, it's more about pinpointing in your own head. Like I said, effective communication begins with you. So I'm sure that there's a moment right before you say something that's getting a negative response that you're being like, oh, this girl's too hot. Because these are the thoughts that I had too. I used to like be in front of this girl I was super attracted to, and the minute that thought in my head was like, oh wow, this girl's so hot, I don't deserve her. And one night I even realized, I'll give you a specific example. I remember this one night I was talking to this stunner, like blonde, ridiculous. And we were talking, and it was going so well. She said to me, she said, what do you want? I want to buy you a drink. What do you want? And we were in this really, really high-end club, and the drinks are like $20. And I remember I said, no, I don't want anything. She's like, no. She's like, I want to buy you a drink. What do you want? I was like, no, I don't want a drink. And in my head, at the time, I was like, oh yeah, I just don't want a drink. I don't want to mess it up. But in my head, what I was really thinking, when I thought about it later, was I didn't take a drink from that girl because I didn't think that I was worth the $20 that this smoking hot girl would have to spend to buy me a drink. It should have been the other. In my head, I thought I would have been fine buying me and her a round of drink at that time, and I would have been like, oh, I would have felt totally normal doing that. But the fact that she was going to buy me a drink, I didn't feel worthy of that, and that was a problem. And that's something that I realized. So that's why, now, so the way I changed it was just by identifying it. And then, so now whenever a girl says to me at a bar, "Let me buy you a drink," I'm like top shelf, let's do it. Maybe not that far, but you know what I mean. But you have to feel that worthiness, And it wasn't like a routine or anything that got me blown out or being myself. I thought I was being myself by saying no, but really, what was really happening was that kind of bad belief came into my head at that right before it happened. And that will happen throughout the interaction. It'll be like, even sometimes if I open a girl and I think to myself, oh, she's so hot, or oh, this is gonna be a really hard situation. This opener sucked. It's gonna I'm gonna get blown out whether I use a routine or whether I be myself. It doesn't really matter. It's more of like effective communication with yourself. Oh, cool. All right, guys. Thank you again. I really appreciate everyone coming out. I know it's early, so thank you for coming out, guys.
All right. A true gentleman, Rob Judge.